Hey, haven't posted a video in a long time. It's summertime, so I've been pretty busy. Thought I'd address something. I've had several comments that talk about. I made a comment in one of my videos, about P-bass pickups and J-bass pickups, and I said in that video, I said that slap bass was out of style, and that elicits a lot of comments from people. And I was serious about that. Slap bass is out of style. You don't hear it on pop radio anymore. You don't hear it in TV show themes or in movies, hardly ever. And people will think slap bass is still in style. What they're thinking of is there's lots of guys on YouTube playing slap bass stuff because it's a way that bass players can show off. But if you think about like the popular slap bass riffs, things everybody how about Night Court? Right, that was a common thing. Or Seinfeld would have been another TV show with slap bass in it. What about popular music? Think about the late '80s Chili Peppers. Or early '90s. Who did that? Rage Against the Machine. So there was lots of Two Princes by the Spin Doctors, slap bass in that. Little Miss Can't Be Wrong, another song, had some slap bass in it. You think about slap bass as a style, it really started in the early '70s. I think Larry Graham was the guy that invented it. And then you started to hear it in little spots here and there in other kinds of music. I think the Steely Dan song, Peg, Chuck Rainey does some slapping. Not nothing crazy, but he does some slapping in that song. Just something real basic, but it's like an early popular music example of slap bass. And then, of course, you get into the disco era, and there was, lots of different slap bass players there. You think about the Brothers Johnson. Boy, that guy, I'm trying to think, I think it's Louis Johnson. What a nut. I mean, just a great slap player. And I always thought that, like, what Flea did later on in the 80s was just basically what Louis Johnson was doing, just in a punk setting or a rock setting. But the 80s was the era when slap bass was super popular, and you heard it in all kinds of songs. Level 42, Duran Duran. Every time you turned on the radio, you heard slap bass. Somebody slapping the bass. And it was really popular when I started playing in the late 80s and up through the early 90s. And I think it reached its pinnacle with Victor Wooten. And Victor Wooten did, I think, everything you can do as far as slapping the bass is concerned. And, the style of slapping changed. So, I think the early Larry Graham, Louis Johnson, Flea, Chuck Rainey, all did this style where your thumb is parallel to the fretboard like this. And I believe it was probably Marcus Miller that started slapping with his thumb like this. Right? So if you watch Marcus Miller, his thumb is parallel to the strings. And then Victor Wooten also slaps that way, and then he just took it to a totally different level. And the problem is with slapping is it's like lots of things, like gated snare drum sounds, that were really popular in the 80s. You don't hear that very often today. You don't hear a lot of wah-wah guitar today. Slap bass was a sound that was really popular for really probably about 10 or 15 years. Think about, about 1978 to 1993, 1995. It was really popular in that period. And then it's kind of died out. You don't hear a lot of guys slapping the bass today. And I think it's because it's a kind of a cliche. So, you know, it's something that harkens back to an earlier era. Is it really popular for dudes on YouTube to play slap bass? Yes, it's super popular. But it's not popular in movies. It's not popular in soundtracks. It's not popular in commercials, TV commercials, or TV shows. You know, that's what I meant. It's not, when I said that slapping the bass hadn't been popular for about 20 years, that's what I mean. 20 years ago, slap bass was a very popular, you heard it all the time. Now you don't. And that's what I meant by that comment. But you may feel free to disagree with me. And if you do, you can go ahead and write a comment. Thanks.